something you can't fix.
If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane.
It's Jay and Adam. It's Preview.
It's Preview's Fix It with Adam and Jay.
Hey, peaches! Welcome to Fix It, where friends don't let friends fix pop culture alone.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jay. And you're our listener.
Well, hey there, listener.
Howdy, 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 listeners. Welcome to Fix It.
Yep, it makes sense. Howdy, listeners.
Well,
There's a snake in my boot.
Someone mentioned to me that in our House of the Dragon finale, where I put my hat on your head.
Yes.
You look like the shark putting on Woody's hat in Toy Story, like howdy, 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 howdy. I was like, I can't get it out of my head. It's so funny. If it's your first time listening here at Fix It, I'm Jay. That's Adam.
Hello.
Hello, hail and well met. And we are the two hosts of the absolute gravitational center of the content universe.
Wow.
Known as Previewed, where we react, review, and riff to all sorts of pop culture shows and trailers and all that good fun stuff. And or you maybe the four people that know us from Previewed Gaming, where we game sometimes.
Sometimes when we have time now, so we're gonna do that soon. But recently we haven't had time.
Look, we gotta give them what they want, and what they want is She-Hulk. But yeah, you may know us from there. This show in particular, every week, Adam and I take little bits of pop culture that maybe missed the mark, maybe didn't quite get there, maybe got a pretty decent report card, but got a D+ in recess. And it's possible.
Is there grades for recess?
There should be.
Oh, okay.
We take those misfires and we fix them. And this week here on Fix It, we are fixing the not wholly bad, but just kind of misplaced, I would say, Back to the Future 3.
This is one of our most requested episodes.
Is it really?
People really wanted us to fix this movie. Which is interesting, because, this is a beloved franchise. Not many people, everyone's like, yeah, and Back to the Future 3 is okay. But, there's never really been I've never heard an outcry to fix this movie until we made the podcast and was like, dude, you gotta fix Back to the Future 3. And
yeah,
I
didn't
really.
Oh, see, I'm gonna be honest. Now I got pressure on. I was like, oh, now my fix has. I was like, oh, I hope my fix is good enough. If people are clamoring for it,
I'm fine.
You're always fine.
I wrote a masterpiece.
Oh,
I nailed it. Hey, that's a great idea for a podcast.
It's already taken. We checked.
Is it?
Yeah, shoot.
Crap.
Shoot.
What if I did it with a Y? But it's not where you think.
Always.
It's part of the it. YT?
It.
It.
Nailed
it.
Nailed it. Yeah, good. We're firing on all cylinders today. I don't know if you can
Gravitational center. We're so scientific.
But before we break down Back to the Future 3, Adam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. My eyes are not as itchy.
What is it, man?
I don't know what's going on.
It's the allergies.
I guess
something.
My eyes have been my left eye's been irritated all week.
I have drops. Do you need drops?
I had drops. Amanda got some drops. We put the drops in.
I got the drops, Jerry. I got the drops.
I don't know what's going on. Everyone's like, "Oh, looking at Adam. Why are you
wearing
glasses all week? Looking so sexy. Looking at Clark Kent." And I was like, "I appreciate that. Thank you."
A couple of episodes with both of us wearing glasses, and the amount of comments that people have been like, "Well, look at these glasses, boys." I'm like, "Oh boy." I was like, "Yeah, sometimes." I don't like being seen like that. You know what I mean?
Yes. I wore glasses most of my life in school, and when I was able to finally get contacts, I'm like, well, I like the way I look without glasses. This is my preferred look. And then so I tried to make sure that I didn't really wear glasses on camera, just because I don't think I look bad with them, but just I prefer me without glasses.
Yeah, I wore glasses all throughout college even, and then stopped wearing it after college, but for me, it's the not getting the face sweat of glasses, because I like kind of wearing the bigger, thicker frames. And sometimes
the constant. you know.
Yes.
Now I do it like an anime character, just like shing ching, but still. Oh, there's always a character in anime who is like usually like the rival or like the coolest tertiary character that's wearing glasses, and they always like they have like two fingers and just kind of and like the light bends on the glasses when they.
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
very
okay.
cool. It's
Yeah,
like,
I know what you mean.
but so I do that now. But
I think you need to stop taking all of your tips and tricks socially from anime. I think you need to knock that off.
you shut up.
Oh man, I made Adam mad, and he just like screamed with his fists closed in his room, and then his hair turned blue.
Just trying.
Just trying.
Man, that'd be so cool. That'd be so cool.
I just like I've thought about a lot about like what like going like Super Saiyan like must like make your body feel like, like and like where like you would like like really have to like activate that, I think, in order to like get your body to take over.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it's in your butt.
Oh. Well,
like because as I'm doing it, I'm like, tight butthole. And it's like it all springs from there. You know what I mean?
it's funny you should say that.
I don't know.
You're actually not too far off. They actually did an answer to that in Dragon Ball Super, which much to the chagrin of people who enjoy the show, which I do. But the Saiyans from Universe 6, Universe 6, our Goku and Vegeta taught them how to do Super Saiyan. And when they taught the one character and the other character went to go teach the other ones, he described it as a tingle in the middle of your back, and you got to focus your energy there and like tighten back there, and then that's where people are like, excuse me, what? There's no tingle anywhere. You just transform into a Super Saiyan. Get this? Nope. I
think that's pretty reasonable.
I thought it was pretty cool having another character teach other people how to do it. I was like, hey, this is how it feels for me, and they're from a different universe, so like their Saiyans are genetically different. Sounded cool to me. Anyways, bring back Dragon Ball Super. Where the hell is that damn show?
Yeah, it's not like it's not like they just explained like the most mysterious, powerful force in the galaxy by being just little parasites in your blood.
Mm-hmm. That also live in the rocks and in trees and everywhere. Yeah.
So Jedis have a disease, is what you're telling me?
They have dark passions.
They've been infected.
Apparently, the whole galaxy's been infected.
Yeah,
they're in everybody.
Sure,
but some people have it more than others. We'll get to you. Prequels.
We'll get to you, prequels.
I mean, Filoni's doing a fantastic job right now of fixing those prequels, but there's only so much you can do.
If all of that Count Dooku stuff from Tales of the Jedi taught us anything, it was like, yeah, this could have been rad. This could have been really cool. Whoops. I guess we get metachlorians and sand. It gets everywhere. Whatever. That's fine. But you're okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Now that Tales of the Jedi is we're done filming. We did it all in one. We shot all 6 episodes of Tales of the Jedi in one day, which is a record for us.
Oh yeah.
Because we could last year we could only do like a couple of visions a day, and we're like, I'm exhausted. We're done. But we did all 6 in one day.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people are sitting home being like, these guys are wieners. They're just being a bunch of wieners about this.
It's less than a movie watch
Blindwave
along,
puts
guys.
out like 8,000 videos a day. What are you guys doing?
That's true, they do.
Yeah, but we lock in. We're on. All right? We're trying to go Super Saiyan the whole time. Our butthole is so tight.
Jay produces diamonds, and I just produce
No, finish that sentence.
I pulled muscle.
Okay.
Backed off.
Yeah, no,
I backed off.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll allow it. But I had you.
You did, yeah.
Just acknowledge that I had you.
I was, yeah.
Okay.
I realized
All right.
I was in
Yield.
trap. Yeah, I yield. Yeah. Well done.
The thumb went up.
Yeah.
Well, you're good. Yeah, sometimes when we're improvising, either on this show or on Previewed, there are times it's some of my favorite moments in creating content with my sweet boy over here in which we're doing a riff or something, and I say something wild, and Adam just like wants to hop in and get in there, but then you can see it in his eye where he goes, "Oh, I actually don't have anything."
Oh no, I had answers for that one. I just didn't no, I just went down the list. Don't want to say that. Nah. Pulled muscle. There we go. That is the only.
I'm just like, I could hold you to this.
We're good. Get out of this cul-de-sac. And you're doing all right?
Oh yeah, dude. I think we are entering a time and now that it's just Andor that we can. It's like we were talking about before we started recording. It was like, look, I'm actually extraordinarily proud of us in that like we have gotten through basically doing a show a day while streaming as much as we were and producing Kitchenette Best Friends and like keeping we did a good job of doing all of that while also like keeping the wheels on the car to some degree. But for me, I'm like that is yes, but it's like but also like there's been no like my desk is just a disaster right now, and it's one of those things where there's been no time to just like okay, like I have not been able to justify like, oh, you know what I'm doing today? Tidying my desk. Like I haven't.
It's not that bad. I'm looking at it right now.
No, it's there's just stuff everywhere.
Sure, but still, it's not that bad.
But it's just it is the ramifications of like streaming for 20 hours a week at it and editing and all of that. So
yes,
yeah. But I think what we have a chance to like reset a little bit, which I'm excited about.
Take a breather. We're gonna. When you guys are listening to this, we've already gamed last night. We did the Resident Evil 8 DLC.
We found more content to make. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, we're around. I'm gonna be streaming again on Mondays. And the most important,
I think it's gonna be great.
The biggest thing that I'm looking forward to be honest, right now, is that when I get done with Tales of the Jedi, hopefully I've done that tomorrow, which is gonna be Saturday. So I'm done with it by the time you guys are listening to this. But then I can start to work on the audio board that we got for bonus action.
Yeah.
Because we made a decision, we're going to do it in person, and so we need to record all of ourselves. So instead of just getting a bunch of Zooms like we have here on the table that we record our previewed and this on, because it's just 2 audio inputs, there's 7 people, so we needed an actual audio board.
So all those people who support us on Patreon, thank you.
Thank you very much. We got a cool new audio board with like 6 inputs and like with like 1/4-inch headphone jacks and like so much. Oh, we're gonna mess with the gain and like.
I'm gonna be honest. We opened that, and we were looking at it, I in my head I was like, I want one. I don't know what I would do with it. I don't know what I was like. This is cool.
Oh,
I was like, it is sufficiently.
There's actually things
cool.
you could do with it.
Yeah,
like there's audio boards for stream setups where you can be like, you can do sound effects and check.
Yeah, but I think there's more. I think there are more stream centric ones. For that.
Sure.
That one is like this is like a full production one.
This is a production.
But I think we're probably going to start using it to record this as well. So.
It's quite possible if there's another person in the room that he's not here today. But if there's and see that you're not here. Yeah, he knows what he did. He started trying to pitch those other podcasts too much, and we're like, get out of here. You got a week suspension. Yeah, get out of here.
Thanks for the great segue, Adam. Yeah, if you're enjoying Fix It on YouTube, then I highly suggest you check out Talking Horror with Jamie and Nikisha. That's on YouTube too. Talking horror movies. Back to you, gentlemen.
So we get to mess with new tech.
Yeah.
So I can't.
Yeah,
I like messing with new tech.
No, and it's pretty choice too. It's really good looking. But I think we should move into Back to the Future 3.
It's time to go to 88 miles per hour, Jay, and one of the best themes.
One of the best theme songs of all time. One of the best theme. Like it's like a kind of thing where it is one of the few themes that like I kind of start crying when I hear it. I was just like, oh yeah, because I haven't really seen these movies in a long time.
Yeah.
But they're still, and I was, I once again, I guess we should just talk about watching it again.
Okay. I guess we should do that.
Yeah, that's normally what we do right now. But I watched it again. We did a watch along with the Peaches, which have been growing, and people have been showing up, and it's been really fun. So if you're on the Discord, or if you're not, discord.gg/previewed, join up. It's the best. I usually post the schedule of when those watch-alongs are happening on the events page on Monday.
Also, next week's video is on Disney Plus. So A lot
I
easier
think
to
that'll be-
find than the last couple weeks, which have either not been available or on Peacock. So
Yeah, Peacock. As much as I actually like a lot of the content that's
Sure.
on Peacock, they've really just like, who follows the Hulu model anymore?
Netflix.
What do you mean?
The commercials are starting soon on Netflix.
Are they really?
Oh, well, it's a lower tier,
Okay.
but like so a new lower tier is starting on Netflix, where there will be ads. But I think if we're where we have now is still going to be fine.
Okay. But wow, that's terrible. That's that yuck. But
I mean, if that's what it takes to get Stranger Things, the budget it needs to have a kick-ass 5th season.
fair enough.
Keep
You know what?
Keep
Fair enough.
Keep The Witcher going.
Absolutely.
Keep a bunch of other shows going.
You know what? Okay, whatever it takes. Sure.
Squid Game season 2 is going to cost a bunch. So like,
Yeah. That's fair. But I watched this along with the Peaches, and we had a great time. And the one point that got brought up during that was that these movies, I think they are like, if they're not the gold standard, they're like the standard bearer of like that second golden age of movie making.
sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so, the Back to the Future perfectly runs that fence of like being in like, of everything kind of obviously being a set and like being kind of like very high, like,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
like being like so Hollywood, but also like maintaining its status as a classic.
Sure.
Because sometimes like things can be like too, like it almost embraces the fact that it's a movie.
Yes.
Like
Well,
I
it's
almost
so fantastical for the 80s.
absolutely.
A time travel movie in the 80s with a DeLorean? That's insane.
Oh yeah.
And it totally worked.
I had to say, after rewatching this movie, it's better than I remember it.
Oh, totally. Well, I mean, Back to the Future 3 is a very good episode of a time travel show.
It's a great Doctor Who episode.
It's a great Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
It's a great Doctor Who episode.
Yeah, because it's like, it's one of those things where it's so, and I think why so many people wanted us to fix this this movie and why it like people I think remember it poorly is that the first two movies are so inextricably linked to each other.
Yes.
Even in the plot of the second one, they go back to parts of the first one.
Which is, at least in my head, and I don't know if it's ever been done before, something like that has been done before, and because the second one came out in 89 and the third one came out in 90. Because they were filmed back to back, and it came out 6 months apart from each other, but like one fall, one spring, and that movie was so brilliant to young Adam that every time that's been done since, like
They're
Cursed
just ripping
Child
it off.
is like, oh, we're Back to the Future 2ing this. Oh, fantastic. Oh, I love this. I love this trope. Oh yeah, let's go back in time, but like hide from our previous selves and get something else done. We can't let anyone else know. I love the trope. I love
it's
it.
a great trope.
Because they freaking nailed it in Back to the Future 2.
100%.
It's because it's so clever.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they like had that in mind when they wrote the first movie of like, we're gonna have to figure out how to way to sneak. No. It was like, what if we're in the same time twice? Is it great?
Yeah.
And and then like using the old shots and like figuring out, and like you can see when with the old 80s technology of how they like superimpose some shots, and there was like a very early green screen on some things, like rotoscopes, like, oh man, they did a very good job for all these effects in the 80s. Granted, we would do better now, but like still they did a very good job with this. And it's just been ever since. It's like, yeah, man, do that. Harry Potter the Cursed Child is that.
It's 100% that.
So like it totally works.
It's just so weird. And then this third one comes along. And like, here's the thing, like structurally, as far as like the time travel stuff, there's some like, it's kind of interesting. Like,
oh, okay.
Well, like Doc being like, oh, like we have like Doc's stuck back in this time, but like, but he doesn't want us to save him. And then like them having the gravestone picture and stuff like that. That's all like really fun. And it's like, yeah, like of course Marty's gonna go back and save Doc. Like, awesome. That's great. And it's our old Doc in this new like setting. But then it and you're like, cool, now what? And then they just
Nope,
sit
that's
there.
it.
And then they just sit there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like one of those, like the fuel line broke.
Mm-hmm.
And Doc was like, well, we don't have, there's no gas stations. And I'm like, hey, Doc, you're telling me you know how to build a time machine, but you can't make gasoline? I feel like I feel cheated in this moment. It's one of those things where it's like, he's like, and people were like, oh, well, maybe they didn't have that. I was like, no, like a large amount of them going west was about oil. Like, there's oil. If not, maybe you could think about like where the oil is and go get some.
He was there for months before he wrote Marty the letter. So like, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you built this whole contraption about ice.
Ice, yeah.
Make an ice cube.
Oh, Ice Cube, yeah.
I mean, that's funny.
It was funny.
And it's, that's a Back to the Future joke for you.
Sure.
Like, that's like perfect. But like, you can't. That's the one thing standing in the way. Okay,
Well,
I don't buy it.
That's the thing. First movie and the second movie were chock full of time travel shenanigans.
Yeah.
Like shenanigans at the waz, changing history, alternate timelines, like, having pictures that change depending on Marty phasing in and out of time as he's either succeeding or failing at the plot of getting his parents together. Like shenanigans.
Yeah.
And we can keep seeing how well he's doing because they keep checking to see how they're doing, and they're like, oh no, time's changing. Oh, we're about to fail. Oh, I'm getting better. Like, this is really good. We can see how things are moving. There is none of that in the third movie, except when they check the photo towards the end when there's no name on the gravestone, and then all of a sudden it changes to Clint Eastwood, and I was like, oh no, I'm the one that dies. Like, that's it. That's the only shenanigan going on.
Yeah.
No.
I will say, I mean, I can believe that Doc falling in love like kind of ruins everything.
Really?
I mean, that for me, that's one of the more believable things in the movie. Like him being like, no, I kind of want to stay. Like, let's figure it out. Like, that's all well and good. But then the one thing that made this movie completely go off the rails for me is when he takes
choo choo.
my butthole. It's in your back, Jay. Stop flexing your butt. Stop trying to make your butt go Super Saiyan.
We're the Rhomboids, Jay Rhomboids.
It's when he takes that one shot and passes out. I'm like, I don't.
Jay, I'm a lightweight.
No,
Maybe it was like
no
500
That
proof.
was too convenient by half.
Wild West liquor, dude. It make me very, very strong.
But you're all
very strong.
that whole the tail end of this movie is where it kind of like falls off the rails for me, because I'm just like, I don't believe that, like, Doc passing out. Just have him drinking all night. That's fine. That you can write that more funny, but like, oh, he took one shot and passed out. Hey there, Doc.
Nice.
Man, I could listen to that guy talk literally all day. But like, I was like, this is the first like Hollywood contrivance that I can see, like, that feels. It doesn't feel like a cutesy fun movie thing. It feels like a Hollywood contrivance.
I see.
Because also we've set up that Marty, whenever he gets called chicken, doesn't back down, and
It's usually to his detriment.
and you also have the guy out there just yelling about how he's a coward, and he's like, no, but I need Doc, and I'm like,
I mean, how do we get Doc?
You-
How do we get
how-
Doc out of this situation?
how-
I see. Aha.
it just doesn't totally. I'm glad that they like make it back and everything, and I'm glad, but it's like, this feels like this could have been like a small blip in a larger movie for me,
Oh, sure.
and that goes into my fix.
Oh, okay.
Because like I have a snippet of this in my fix.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because it was just like, this movie feels to me like, yes, it feels like if they made a Back to the Future show after the first trilogy of like Doc and Marty just going on adventures, which
They did.
not the cartoon.
Right. There was a Back to the Future cartoon. And then they made a second one, which is way better and going 10 seasons.
Oh, you're talking about Rick and Morty.
Sure. I mean, there was a Back to the Future cartoon. They tried it.
Yes.
For
Yeah,
Saturday
yeah,
mornings.
I watched it.
Yeah, and it didn't quite work.
Wasn't very good.
No.
No, we all know the best of the movies to cartoon transition. We all know the gold standard of what that was.
The Real Ghostbusters.
Oh, see, that's not the direction I was going.
Oh.
Real Ghostbusters was very good. I see your Real Ghostbusters, and I raise you. The Beetlejuice show was really good.
Oh, yeah.
It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Because it got to expand the character more and spend more time with, like, the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's way more fun. But yeah, Real Ghostbusters is good too. That wasn't even on my list. But anyways,
Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da.
yeah, this movie just doesn't match.
Doesn't match up. Not at all. Speaking about things that don't match, hey, maybe now would be a good time to go over to our friend Brian with a Y.
It's not where you think.
It's not where you think. I mean, you think it's someplace. It's not there.
It's not.
It is not there. Trust me, it's not there.
So
it is somewhere else.
Producer Brian, why don't you roll that beautiful bean fun fact footage about Back to the Future 3? Did you like that take? That fella was pretty good.
It's pretty good. Also, if you want to tell us more about the Real Ghostbusters and the Beetlejuice cartoons, you can do that too. But at this point, because you already mentioned it, might as well. Oh, and the Back to the Future cartoon.
Yeah, and like, what your favorite what your favorite smoothie is? Like, what you put in your smoothies every morning, or how you feel about smoothies in general. Smoothies.
Yeehaw! Thank you, gentlemen. Today we're trying to fix 1990s Back to the Future Part 3. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, written by Bob Gale, and starring Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, Mary Steenburgen, and of course, ZZ Top. This movie cost $40 million to make and made $245.1 million. If you care, this movie has an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, whereas Part 2 has a 63% and Part 1 has a 97%. And if you care, I actually prefer Part 3 to Part 2, but that's probably because of nostalgia. And finally, if you're interested to learn more about the animated series that we just talked about, like Beetlejuice, The Real Ghostbusters, and the Back to the Future animated series, listen to the podcast to Fix It, where I go into all those dirty details, and I talk about my favorite smoothies. Anyway, back to you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Brian.
Oh my God, Brian! There was so much knowledge there.
Knowledge.
We set you up though. We talked about so many things before we remembered to kick it over to you.
Yeah.
Oops.
That's
what happens when you're not in the room.
Yeah, I mean,
But you deserved it because
yeah, you're not
stop
here.
pitching other podcasts.
Yeah, come
Get
on.
out of here. You know what you did.
You know what you did.
I mean, this was an okay ending to the trilogy. And as a kid, I was like, this is fine. But as I grew up, I was like, this is not fine. This is okay at best.
It's okay. It's an okay movie.
The first two movies were so awesome that it deserved an awesome ending, and this is not quite it.
That's the thing, is that like this movie's like actually got some fun moments. It's, you know, and I would say it is still, to its core, a Back to the Future movie.
Oh, sure.
From shots, from like the script, from they still know what they're doing with the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has like that Back to the Future heart. It's just like, this isn't, why is this a Western? Like, why?
Yeah.
This is how you wrap everything up? Like, I don't.
Oh, well, I mean, I will say this. One positive. Well, there's so many positive things about this movie, but I think that one of the biggest things is the ending sequence of the train getting up to 88 miles an hour, and is one of the best things in cinema. Like, it
rules.
It's a great It's a great show. It's a great
when
minute.
she falls and he throws the hoverboard back, that's just...
It's great.
Wow.
The whole sequence is really, really good.
When the top of the train explodes, 'cause
Yes.
it's going too fast, it's like, ooh woo!
It's a great segment.
Yeah, no.
It's a really good action set piece. And then the DeLorean goes back ahead of time to 85 and then gets crounched by a train almost immediately. And then the train shows up and then we're done. It wrapped up too fast. He gets back to the present, and all of a sudden it's like,
Well,
and the movie's over.
They've also dealt with. I can't remember if someone on Discord brought this up or this was TikTok. I can't remember. But once they wrap everything up with Mad Dog, they can just wait for tomorrow's train. There's no need for them to. There's no need. Maybe take a week, chill. If the next train is until next Monday, just take a sec.
You're right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
You're right. There is no pressure to get out of
Zero.
it.
Because the clear and present danger has been dealt with.
And then after that, it's just like, yeah, you can take
And
your
they're
time.
like, oh, the train, we gotta go. And it's like, I mean, you don't. Because, like, and everyone was like, oh, well, the train is coming on the track. I'm like, no, they switched the track. Because they gotta steal the train first.
Wow.
Just go right on by.
They could leave whenever they want at that point.
Yeah.
Huh.
They literally can leave whenever they want.
You know what? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And when I made my fix, I mean, there's a reason why they have to leave. Like, I made it so there's like consequences and stakes, like immediately. So
Yeah.
I just assumed it. But you're right. It's the consequences are we can wait. There's no reason to leave yet.
Oh, we can chill.
We could. Huh.
We can just hang out in this
talk
nice
to Clara.
town.
They can discuss things.
Because I heard that point, and then I was watching the movie, and I was like, "Oh, well, Clara gets on the train, and like leaves. So like they're gonna go catch the train because they know Clara's on it. She's not on the train.
Nope, she's not.
But also, like Doc has already made the agreement that he was gonna leave anyways.
Yep.
So like,
it's all falling apart, Jay.
yeah, they probably could have done it a lot safer. I mean, it still worked.
It was really
still
cool.
worked.
And it's still cool.
I don't know how he built a train that runs. I don't know how he built a time. There was just,
how does he make a flux capacitor in the 1880s?
Yes. To be fair, though, they'd already had 2 children at that point, so I'd imagine it's been like 7 to 8 years. So if you
Plus, he had the hoverboard.
Yeah,
You could strip that for parts.
I suppose.
That's how I always thought it was. Like that was the core. The parts of the hoverboard had to have been the core of that new time machine. At least initially.
That makes enough.
To get him to travel in time to the future, to then be like, great, okay, cool, technology and stuff. Here, let's just put all the cool stuff in, and now we're set.
You just need to get to you just need enough juice to get to the future.
Mm-hmm.
That's also in my fix as well.
Just enough juice.
You just need just enough juice to get to the future.
You like the juice, eh?
I like
You like the juice?
You like the DeLorean juice?
I give you the juice.
Do you like the juice?
I like
the way the
juice.
door is open on the side. Do you like the juice? I love it. We're in a weird mood today.
It's been a weirdly long week, Jay.
Yeah.
Even though there's only been like less shows to do, it's been a weirdly long week.
I love you, buddy.
I
Did
love
know
you too.
that? We're doing it.
We are doing it. We're making it happen.
So we I think we've said all we have to say, and it's just like, this movie was awesome when I was 12. This movie was great when I was a kiddo.
Yeah.
But now it just doesn't. It
doesn't live up to the awesomeness of the first
I
two.
think that's all that needs to be said about
Well,
it.
for now. Very soon it will. My fix is amazing. I'm very proud of my fix. And I
Okay.
think I should go first because you've been teasing like mine gets a little crazy.
Well, my ending is. I'm curious to see. I might have to rewrite my ending after I hear yours. We'll see.
Okay. So because once again I'm like, okay, what's the problem? No shenanigans? Well, we need some shenanigans then. Let's get as many shenanigans as we can in here. So
your thesis statement is more shenanigans.
oh, I mean this movie had a shenanigan in the photo.
Oh, like time shenanigans.
Time shenanigans.
Gotcha.
Like the first 2 movies had. Like Marty feel like
Chrono shenanigans.
looking at his hand and it fading out. Like that. Dude, him looking at his hand and it fading out to like 6-year-old Adam was like,
Whoa.
what the hell is, oh my god, time travel's amazing. Like that.
Yeah.
This movie is like the reason why, I think one of the main reasons why I got hooked on sci-fi. Just because like I really, him looking at his hand and it fading while he was playing the music. Like, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So this movie needs to be way cooler. So I'm gonna go first. So I just get right down the plate.
Clearly, I don't have a choice.
I'm deciding. I've decided. I'm going to go first, and then you can go crazy on the back end.
Hit me.
Okay. Thesis statement: shenanigans. We need time travel shenanigans in this movie. So, for the most part, this starts off the exact same way. Marty gets the letter. We see the little recap of the second movie.
Yeah.
Marty, that ending of the DeLorean going, just getting struck by lightning, and then traveling back to the future, and the fire tracks, and then Doc, dancing, we did it, and then Marty just runs around the corner.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
Yeah.
And starting the next movie the same way is just like, but like, just like the ending of the second movie, just extended the scene we've already seen just a little bit longer.
It's great.
Is great. And then the beginning of the third movie just extends that scene we just saw just a little bit longer. And it's like, God, I'm back from the future. Oh!
Yeah.
God, it's so good. So it starts the same way, right? Marty's reading the letter to Doc at home after they've slept that the night or whatever, and turns out like they go get the DeLorean. They blow up the thing. They find the gravestone. So here's the first change though. Doc does not die on September 7th. Doc, the date on the tombstone is September 5th.
Okay.
Which is the same day as the clock tower christening.
Okay.
So we're just gonna squeeze that a little bit, all right?
Because it's I love the clock tower still. I have the same thing. The clock tower weirdly is so important.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important.
But we just gotta when they got back into time, it's just kind of like, oh, we kind of have time to like they were jumping like, oh, we do this in the morning and then it's night. It's like, oh, okay. So like clearly like no one's like in a big rush here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I also really love the idea that the clock tower being important because it's a big timekeeper.
Yeah.
The fact that they have to like rebuild the time, like it's thematically very good.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, keep going.
Okay. So, where they get the car, they fill it up. All the same stuff happens. We read the thing. It's like, okay, he dies on we see the gravestone. He dies on the 5th. This letter was written on the 3rd. This was only 2 days after the letter. So we got to go back and save him. I can't not go back. And Doc, current Doc is like, well, future Doc said don't come back. It's like, okay, Doc, I can't leave you to die in the old West. Like over $80. This is ridiculous. I got to go back and save you. It's like, no, my future. Blah, blah. Like, no, we're gonna go. Or I'm gonna do it. So they once again, same stuff. They figure out how to do the circuit to travel in time. The awkward clothes, all that kind of stuff. So, the same stuff happens. The Native Americans show up. He freaks out. He backs up. Oh no, the cavalry. Oh no, the gas leak. All that stuff. The same stuff happens. This is September 3rd. He falls
2 days before the clock.
2 days before the clock tower. Same thing in the movie. He shows up on September 3rd. He falls. He runs away from the cavalry, falls down the hill, knocks his head, wakes up at the McFly farm, meets his ancestors.
You're keeping the McFly farm.
There's a reason why.
It's the one thing from
reason,
that movie you could cut.
There's a reason why.
And he could learn that lesson he learns literally anywhere. The main drive of Back to the Future 3 teaches Marty the lesson that he quote unquote learns from his ancestor that saves his great great grandson later down the line. That's actually who saves himself later on. It just doesn't. You don't have. Anyways, sorry.
Okay, there's a reason why I kept them in. So it has he meets his great grandfather or whatever, and it's like, hey, you can go sleep in the barn. In the next shot, in the normal movie, the next shot is him walking into town.
Yes.
But in this version, the next shot is him waking up in the barn. We see him wake up in the barn, and then he makes his way to town.
What happened about that barn?
Nothing. He wakes up in the barn. We see him wake up in the hay.
Okay.
Like he's like, well,
that's just a very specific difference to.
Yes. So all the same stuff happens, right? He goes into town. He goes to the bar, runs into Biff.
Sure.
They hang him. Doc shows up with his cool-ass gun, shoots the rope, saves Marty. They go get the car, find the gasoline. There's a hole in the gas line. It's like, okay, well, and he tells Doc, you die tonight. We need to get out of here. Oh, crap, we can't leave. The gas lines. Oh, no, what do we do? They start trying to work the problem a little bit. But here's where the big difference is. This takes most of the day.
Yes.
So, like, I was surprised in the movie. I was like, oh, yeah, we got the car. We started figuring this stuff out. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, the train. Like, oh, and it's only noon. Like, no,
We built
man.
this whole model, and I'm like, that model probably took 3 weeks to build.
Yeah. So, it's just they get the car. They figure out the problem. It's like, oh, no, there's a hole in the gas line. We can't get out of here. Well, okay, we'll figure this out somehow. We got to get the car up to 88 miles per hour. But, like, the more important thing is, Doc, you're going to die tonight.
Yeah.
So they are more focused on that.
Yeah.
And there's some scuttlebutt in town as they're, like, trying to figure out what to do. Like, oh, did you hear that woman died in the ravine? Oh, my God. The school teacher that was supposed to come in, there was a freak accident. She died in the ravine. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Just in the background, right? You just hear that.
Oh, so you killed Clara?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
She's dead.
Oh.
So they go to the clocked christening.
Okay.
They take their picture taken like right after 8 o'clock because remember it's like 8:10 the thing, and then Biff confronts Doc because remember the Biff was there with his gang. He's got the Derringer. Biff confronts Doc at the christening. They're around the dance hall or whatever, and Marty sees this, runs up to save Doc. We hear a bang. Marty wakes up in the barn.
Okay. Okay.
Marty wakes up. Marty wakes up.
In the barn.
Marty wakes up. Okay. Marty wakes up, walks back to town. He thinks it's September 6th. So he walks into the town. He sees Biff go to the bar, but he doesn't go to the bar this time. He goes straight to Doc's place because he knows where it is.
Gotcha.
He goes to Doc's workshop and starts talking to Doc. And Doc's like, Marty, what are you doing here? This is amazing. Because this is the first time Doc has seen him. But Marty's like, what are you talking about? What happened last night? How did I end up back at the McFly barn? So they're talking across each other because Marty thinks it's the 6th, but actually it's still the 5th. So eventually they figure out, oh, wait a second. I've already lived this day.
You are live, die, repeating Back to the Future 3. You rascal dascal.
Shenanigans,
Well,
Jay!
because that is a good enough hook to take place in a Western. Like, if you're going to keep it a Western, that is an interesting enough time travel hook. Because, we all loved Groundhog's Day. And at that point, it wasn't beaten to death.
Because here's the thing. And Brian, I'm going to ask you to do a little research for me. Because I didn't have time to do this. But I did look up that this movie came out in 1990.
Yes.
Groundhog's Day didn't come out until 93.
Groundhog's Day is not a 90s or is not an 80s movie?
No, it's 93.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have bet you a lot of money that it came out in like 88.
So, Brian, can you look up to see if there's any like time loop movies or like big?
So they'd be the first ones to it.
They might be the first. Like I think
if they did it. Okay.
maybe like a Twilight Zone like this. I mean, this wasn't an original idea, but it was not as prevalent as it is now, because of the success of Groundhog's Day. So this would have preceded that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Adam. So you're technically right. 2 Twilight Zone episodes. One called Judgment Night, the other one called Death Ship, one in 59 and one in 63, both did time loops. Now, there have been some foreign films before 1990 that did time loops. Some anime stuff, some French movies, but no one presented it in the way that kind of Groundhog Day did. You could also say it was groundhog breaking. But I'm talking about like major American movies that would have come out and been like given to the masses. And therefore, I think Groundhog Day was actually the first one outside of the Twilight Zone. Anyway, back to you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that backup. So, Marty and Doc are talking and eventually figure out, wait a second, I already lived this day. So Doc starts figuring stuff out. And Doc realizes, because he's super smart, Marty, in my letter that I sent you 2 days ago, I told you if you traveled back in time, you could damage the timeline. It's in the letter. Do not come back and get me. The damage that you could cause to the timeline is incalculable. Well, Marty traveled back in time. He damaged the timeline.
Okay.
And so now this is the repercussions of him traveling back to save Doc.
It's like a record. It's like when a record skips, Marty. You're skipping a record. Something like that, you know?
Well, my thought is that what do I? No, that's the next loop. So, okay, they figured. Okay, Marty.
We have to repair the record, Marty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now. Okay, we have to fix this problem. So we have to jump now because we have to get out of this loop. Okay, so let's get the car. And they go get the car. Same meters. Okay, here's the gas lines. We got to figure out how to. Okay, how do we fix this? Maybe there's something the flux capacitor. Maybe if we did something. Maybe change the polarity or something. I don't. So they're not quite sure how to fix the problem yet, but they are aware that okay, Marty is now in a time loop. We got to figure this out. We got to jump. But how do we get up to speed? Not quite sure yet. And we also, Doc, you're gonna die tonight. Biff's gonna attack you at the party. You know what? Here's what we do. Let's not go to the party. We'll just stay here in the lab, in the workshop, and we'll just try to figure this out. So they just stay in there trying to figure. You know, they're using the model now.
You can't get shot at the party if you don't go to the party, Doc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're working. You can hear the party going on outside. Once again, you hear like the scuttlebutt of like, did you hear a woman die of the ravine today? Oh my! It's like it was a freak accident. It's like their horses just like ran her off. It's horrible. So they're in their.
You just like that you killed Clara. And it probably has nothing to do with the time loop. You're
I've
just like
killed her twice now.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't even think you're going to remedy that. I think you just like saying it.
I almost turned this thing off. Oops, that was close. I hit the zoom. Okay, so they're in the workshop. They're just kind of going over stuff, and in walks Biff and his gang. And they're like, oh, no. Okay, because Biff wants his $80.
Yeah, man.
So he showed up at the workshop. So Marty and Doc are trying to talk their way out of it, and one of his guys, they pull guns, or like pull the Derringer, and the shot goes off, and it hits the contraption that made the ice, and there's a big boom. Marty wakes up in the barn. Okay, now Marty knows what's going on. Runs from the McFly barn into town, bypasses the bar, straight to the workshop. Doc, wake up. Marty, what are you doing here? I don't have time for this. He gets a little bit better of bringing Doc up to speed. Okay, I'm in time loop. I traveled back in time. I've already done this a couple times. And then he's like, okay. And Doc's like, oh, it's Doc. I was like, he's talking. Marty's talking time travel stuff?
He immediately is like,
I'm catching on.
It's like a record, Marty. It's like, I know.
Yes.
I know, Doc. Keep going.
So, yeah, obviously these conversations are going to get more and more fun as we go along because more information has to be imparted. And he, of course, absorbs it immediately.
Man, I'm smiling. I love this.
So, Doc goes, okay, so there's something wrong with time. You're in a loop. Okay, great. So we're going to have to figure out something to do with the flux capacitor, and we're going to need to probably, maybe, Doc, he said something about like polarity or something. I think that was the words. Like, yeah, that might work. Maybe change it. Okay, you know what? We're going to need a lot more stuff than what we have here in the shop. Marty, and because they've already gotten the car, and they go back and get the car because they're talking about the whole time. It's like, oh, we're going to need more. We're going to need more stuff. You still have there's a briefcase of all the money from all the different time periods. It's still in the DeLorean, right? It's like, yeah, it's in the trunk. Could you grab that for me? I think there's some money left over from this time period. Marty goes, sure. He opens up the case, and he looks in and is like, hey, Doc, have you spent all the money from the 21, 22? He was like, I have not been to that future in a very long time. He was like, well, there's no money in this slot. Oh, no. Doc's like, I didn't spend it. Great Scott! Marty! Do you know what this means? Time's erasing itself. Oh, this is worse than I thought. Gets the chalkboard. Okay, so when you jump back to here, it must have created some type of kind of like a black hole. Instead of matter circling the black hole, it's time. There's a black hole. That's why you're stuck in it. The time is just circling the drain right now. Oh my God! If we don't fix the timeline and jump, do some math. And we have like maybe 5 loops left to be able to fix this, or else time will cease to be. Marty, I told you, traveling in time is dangerous. There are repercussions for messing with the timeline. Mm-hmm. Shenanigans. Stakes. Not an infinite loop.
Chrono shenanigans. Chronanigans.
Okay, so now the stakes have been raised. Hooray!
Did you say steak?
Crap.
So the stakes have been raised.
Yeah, boy. So, because of the high stakes now, and the enormity of what's going on. Marty and Doc go to the bar, and they're like, "Oh, it's like this is how do we even? This is just too big. This is just So this is when they figure out the train. It's like we need. How do we get this car up? We've already tried this. We tried this and tried this, and it doesn't work. We can't get the car fast enough. And then you hear the toot toot toot. I'm like, oh, what about the train? Oh, they go out to the train. They see find the tracks, and this is when they see Clara running right towards the ravine, and now we save Clara.
Okay, that's good.
So we save Clara. Oh boy. And that's when, after they say, it's like, oh, my name is Clara, whatever her last name was, like, and
She
Marty's like,
unlocks a new storyline progression through the. Yep.
and that's when Marty tells Doc about further of the tombstone of like, oh, that's Clara. Oh, she was mentioned on your tombstone. Wait, what? Because they're already like, there were sparks, but then Marty tells him, is like, no, oh no. But that couldn't, and then that's similar. Like, I'm not gonna fall in love in time, blah 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 blah. But
It's tonight.
You can't because she's adorable. They're nerds, and they're gonna, of course, nerd love is very strong, and it happens quickly. Okay, so they get Clara back to her house. They go back into town and try to figure the stuff out, and then Doc has another great Scott moment of figuring out we could use the train. I could come up with these charges that would go off at certain temperatures that could help get the car or the train up to speed. Basically, Wild West Nas. It's all about that Nas bit, man.
Praise be to Nas.
So
You must know when to Nas. Don't Nas too fast.
you gotta wait for the right time. We're talking about Nas. So they're like, okay, we have a plan. We're gonna use the train. We got these charges. This could probably work. Okay, we got this. Let's go to the christening because it's happening right now, and we're aware of what Biff's going to do. This has happened a couple before.
Yeah.
Clara shows up. Similar scene happens. They dance. They kind of, there's clearly a connection. Biff shows up. He accosts Clara. Doc is like, blah, 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 blah. And this time, Marty, instead of jumping in front of the thing, realizes, oh, wait a second, this thing says Frisbee on it. Ah, haha, blah, 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 blah. Knocks the gun. So that's the same scene from the movie. He's smart. So everyone stays up. Doc and Clara look at stars through her broken telescope. Mm-hmm. And Marty wakes up at 7 o'clock. Marty wakes up in the barn. 7 o'clock is the cutoff.
Gotcha.
Okay, great. Now we know what's going on. Marty wakes up in the barn. Okay.
It's a record, Marty!
Doc! Blah, 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 yeah. Way better at this, it's a little, it gets better each time. He's like, okay, so.
And also Michael J. Fox exasperatedly going through all the stuff that he's already knows and tries to tell. I want to see that.
Yeah. We don't have time. We only have a day. We have until 7 a.m. to get out of here. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. He catches on immediately. This is, Nas, train, boom, 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 boom. Great. That's the plan. Fantastic. We're doing great. And he's like, okay, but the big problem is Biff. We got to take out Biff. He's the cause of all, the problem. He's been stopping us each time. He's the big hurdle we got to cross. Okay. I got it. I got the gun last night because I remember they did the boom, 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 boom. I got this. He goes to the bar, sees Biff, challenges to a draw at high noon, and it's like goes at high noon. He goes 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, draw. Marty wakes up in the barn. Did not go well. Okay, he wakes up. Ah, damn it. Okay, back to the workshop. Doc, here's all the stuff. We don't have we only had a couple loops left. Here's the stuff. Train, Biff, Clara, all this kind of stuff. So they go through, they get the car, do the thing, blah, blah, blah. Go get Clara, bring her back straight to the workshop this time.
Okay.
They try to hide what they're kind of doing, but they're still working on stuff, and he's working on the charges and doing the thing and whatever. And Clara's sees what's going on because they didn't hide it all that well. And so there's science. And she's like, I love science. They start talking, and Clara uses some knowledge of the current time period that Doc wouldn't think of because he's from the 50s and 80s and stuff like that.
He's thinking of things too far forward.
Yes.
When some of the things the easiest, the most simple, she can see the most simple fixes
for the time period.
Yeah.
And so one of her little statements, unlocks Doc being like, that's how I can flip the polarity of the flux capacitor. I would have never thought of that because I'm thinking too far ahead and how to replicate that thing when I didn't need to because this thing, I wouldn't have known that, Clara. You're a genius. Okay, great.
Clara, you're a genius. It's like a record body.
So they figure all this stuff out. And okay, they finally figured the whole thing out. It's just how to deal with Biff trying to kill Doc tonight. They get around it, by the way. So Claire goes home for the party. They Doc and Marty go over all the things. It's like we need to know all the things they need to do. Great, and it's all before 7. And the train. There's a train leaving at 5:30 in the morning. We'll get that. There should be enough time to hijack it, get it in place, and get out of here before 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, it's a good thing we have 2 loops left before time runs out, and time just literally runs out. So they check the briefcase again to see how much money is left in the different time periods. And Marty goes, Doc, there's a lot less here than there was a couple earlier. And then Doc goes, wait a second, let me do the math. Oh, I didn't. I forgot the decay rate would, of course, speed up. We've only got 1 loop left. If we don't do it tomorrow, if we don't do it the next loop, all time's gone.
That's a good way of like raising the stakes. I like that a lot.
Thanks. So, okay, this is the last loop. Here we go. Marty wakes up in the barn, heads to Doc's, fills them in real quick. They go to the bar. He picks a fight with Biff. He's like, we're going to duel at high noon. Great. Marty now realizes, because his chicken has happened a few times during the movie. And his ancestors at the party that one time. And he learned, it's like, oh, I did a duel with Biff because he called me chick. I shouldn't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. So he literally died to learn this lesson. So he's like, he does a Clint Eastwood thing. Does that same thing happens. Biff gets taken out and arrested. As soon as Biff gets taken away, they immediately run to save Claire. They are cutting it. Like, they run. It's like, oh, she's already... Like, it's close.
Yeah.
Grab Claire. Head back to the thing. Head back to the workshop. Do all the things. Claire helps a little bit this time because they kind of caught her up in, like, science experiments of, like, how to make a train go faster. Like, they kind of, like, lie really well to, like, get her to do stuff. And science is great. And so they go to they get everything done. They get everything set up. They go to the dance. They get their picture taken. He dances with Claire one last time, and he decides to leave. They all go. Marty and Doc go to the DeLorean where it's already set up. It's like 2 a.m. and they're like, okay, great. We did a lot today. We got plenty of time to fix this out. Okay, great. And then Claire shows up and is like, I don't know what's going on, but there's something about you, and I want to be here. So she stays with him, and then the rest of the movie takes place as normal. The cool train sequence happens, but the only difference with the train sequence is with the music playing and all kind of stuff, you can see, because it's in kind of the early dawn, right? You can kind of see that there's red in the atmosphere.
Oh.
Like, just kind of getting creeping, just getting close. And at the end, when they hit it at 7. So, like, the whole world goes red. And Marty's like, Doc, I can't leave. You're going to be like, Marty, if you jump, everything's going to be fine. Just go. We'll be okay. Trust me, we'll be fine. It's like, Doc, you're my best friend. I love you. I love you too, Marty. It's going to be fine. Believe me. And he's off on the hoverboard.
Yeah.
And then most of the movie, basically the rest of the movie happens.
That's awesome.
With
I like that
a little bit more context this time when he comes back saying,
yes,
Doc, what happens? Like, Marty, I told you, like, if you jumped, time would be okay. The timeline repaired itself. Everything was fine.
It's like a record body.
I built this using the hoverboard. He's going to say it. I used the hoverboard to build my first time machine.
Yeah.
And then we went to the future. And then I decked this thing out. Oh, and also, by the way, here are our kids.
Yeah. Little babies.
Little babies.
So
it's the ending. Basically, all the same stuff happens. He doesn't do the car thing, whatever. But there's more time with Doc, where they get because like that scene is very fast. That scene needed to be a little bit slower, and this time
we really don't get the
just talk a little bit more.
We don't get the emotional payoff.
Of, we've been through an amazing adventure. Like I'm glad
I remedy that in mine. Pretty hard.
So time loop for me.
Hell yeah, man. That's good as. And it gives them stakes.
The end of time.
I did say steaks.
Did you say steaks?
Great job, dude.
Thanks.
And now for mine.
Okay. Strap in, everybody.
All right.
Maybe get a helmet.
Okay. So, movie opens exactly the same.
Right.
We basically get the movie basically opens exactly the same until we get Marty having to go back to the Old West.
Right.
They have the picture of the gravestone. Everything's fine. He jumps, but then right after he jumps, we get the same shot again of Marty like wearing Western clothes,
Coming out of the drive-in.
Coming out, basically just coming out of like running off again, like from a DeLorean that pops back like the other. It comes back the other direction. I think if I'm directing it, it literally jumps back in the other direction. He's like, Doc, he wasn't there. I don't know where he is. Like you're gonna like he wasn't. I was like, look at the gravestone. Like it all disappeared. He's not there. I don't know what's happening. He's like, you're gonna have to come. Like we gotta like. He's like, he had a shop there that may be clues. Like you're gonna have to come back with me, to figure this out because he's not there. But I don't know what. Like I think he may have left some clues, or there might be some kind of like. But he is not where he said he was going to be. And so like 50s Doc is like, well, okay, like I don't totally know what I'm doing. But he hops in the car and they jump back to the Old West. They find Doc's his workshop, and they kind of go through all of his papers and things like that. And they like 50s Doc like kind of sees all the schematics and stuff, and he starts to like understand what the time machine is capable of,
right,
and like what it is, and like we kind of see like this Doc like. If this is the Doc that's like priming to build the time machine eventually.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot. And when we go back the second time, it becomes we get a fuel notification from the car that they only have one jump left.
Ah, okay.
And so we basically we're going through all of Doc's stuff to like find clues about where he is, and we go through like his journal and things like that. And in one of the journals it said in case of dire emergency, it has coordinates and a date, and it's Washington DC in the year 2070.
Okay.
And they're like, we've never, and Marty's like,
far,
we never jumped that far, Doc. Like, we've never been that far into the future. Like, that's really far into the future. And 50s Doc is like, I mean, well, it looks like we're in an emergency. We got one jump left. This is what we're going to have to do. And so they kind of like, they wrap up like all of his like writings and stuff like that. And they're like trying to find like new Doc. And it's not really clear where he's going. That's like the only clue that they have. So they jump to that date and time in that location, and they find themselves outside of the Smithsonian.
Okay.
And outside the Aero and Space Museum.
Hell yeah, man.
And they make their way in, and you can kind of tell like people are like looking at them weird as they're going in.
Oh yeah, they look strange.
Because they're like wearing kind of like Western clothes, but like, but also like there's something else to that look. But they can't really place it. And he's like, "Great Scott, Marty!" Like, and they finally like make their way through the museum. Like, why would you send us to the Air and Space Museum? I can't. It's fun to do the voice. I'm not good at it, but I like doing it.
No, it's pretty good.
And we find there is a small exhibit of Doc Brown's time machine. And in that exhibit, there are tons of photos of Doc and Marty and all of the things that they've done, like all of like the stuff that they've gone, like that they went through, like all the time travel they've done,
all the adventures,
and a lot of the papers that like Doc has in his hands. He's like, "That's on the wall. Why is that there? I should what?" And so they see all these pictures of like all the stuff that they've done. But And they were like, it seems like everything's fine. But they see in the exhibit, there is the DeLorean, but it's like, it's like fresh, fueled,
Sure.
like it's good to go.
Ah.
So like it was like, this is like a pristine time machine just sitting in the Natural History Museum. So like, well, I guess we'd take this one.
Well, if Captain America has proven anything, you can just walk into the Smithsonian, take your own outfit, and just go.
And it's the kind of thing where like you can see like the docent being like, they're like getting in the car, they're like, sir, please don't. And he's like, Doc's like, it's okay, it's my car. And they're like, look at a picture, and they're like, it is your car. But they try, and in a true Hollywood fashion, they drive that new DeLorean out of the future Air and Space Museum. But as they like are driving around DC, they're asking for, they are asking for directions. They're like, oh, like we know we're like in the capital. They're like, oh, well, you're in the you're in the capital. Like, where are we exactly? They're like, you're in the capital of the northern United States. And Doc and Marty are like, what? He's like, yeah, the Union of the northern United States. And they're like, well, we know where Doc is. And so they travel back. They travel back to basically Civil War era. Since they're already in DC, they travel back to a Civil War DC, and they find real Doc, or older Doc,
Right, 80s Doc.
They're both real.
Right.
We find 80s Doc, and he basically is, he's got it in his head that like, something has gone wrong with like the time the time stream. And he's like I'm trying to, he's like, it's something something's gone wrong. Abraham Lincoln like wasn't assassinated. And they're like, what? Okay. And it's like, it's terrible, it's a terrible thing, but like him being assassinated is like plays a large part in the North winning the war. Like, and so they're like trying to figure out what like what's going on, like how to basically they like kind of start having to like hatch a plan to be like, how do we get Abraham Lincoln assassinated? Like, how does that? And then it gets like really macabre, and then it's like Doc's like, I don't know how I feel about, like, I don't feel good about this. But then all of like the paperwork, and I think he stole, maybe 50s Doc stole some stuff from the museum as well.
Yeah, why not?
But we start seeing things that they have accomplished, like pictures of like them doing stuff in different times, start like changing,
shenanigans,
and getting weird,
shenanigans,
chrono-nanigans. And so they're like, okay, well, like they see like them in like ancient Rome, and they realize that like someone, like the aqueducts were never invented, like the aqueducts that were behind them disappear. And so they're like, okay, well, in order for us to be here right now, the aqueducts have to exist. Or for Rome to survive, the aqueducts have to exist. So we have to go back. We have to go back and save the aqueducts before we have to assassinate. And honestly, I don't want to do it, Marty. I don't want to do it. So let's go fix that first. And so they hop in the DeLorean, go back to Rome, fix the aqueducts, and then I like the idea of them having to jump to fix like 3 or 4 problems.
Sure.
That keep popping up because the pictures that 50s Doc, and it's 2 Docs and 1 Marty in the car, which is just great.
That's great.
It's just too fun. And so they have to keep going back and fixing stuff. And by the time they have like quote unquote remedied everything, and they are back in like Civil War America and have to things just start getting like weirder as they go, and they start fixing things, and clearly like it's not helping like the future at all. And they finally make it back to like Civil War time, and they're like, cool. They were like, would you happen to know where the president or President Abraham Lincoln lives? And they're like, who are you talking about? And it's gotten to a point where like they have through all of their shenanigans,
right?
They have completely like pretty much obliterated the time stream. And so it comes down to basically what the way I see it, like this movie getting to a point and ending, because we get a lot of time shenanigans.
Yeah.
We get a lot of fun stuff. They're like, okay, let's just go back to 2070. Let's go back to the museum, see what's up, see what we can fix. Like, there's a plan. We can fix this
In case of emergency.
Right. The Air and Space Museum. Maybe we can talk to some people and we can figure out. We've been too careless with all this,
Putting band-aids on stuff and not finding out the root problem.
and eventually, they go back to the old museum, and them trying to plan stuff out and them trying to do things. It gets to I like the idea of the two docs going back and forth, and they finally like figure out the plan, and they're like, great, let's go do it. And as soon as they say like, let's go do it, Marty starts to disappear.
Oh no!
Completely disappear.
Like seeing his hand, yeah.
And then Marty's gone. And the docs are obviously inconsolable.
Sure.
And so my Back to the Future 3 ends with a quick couple of shots of 80s Doc putting 50s Doc back where he goes. And 80s Doc puts a very specific time into the time machine, and he goes back to basically, like, he goes back and is in the lab when Marty first gets there in the first movie,
Okay.
and is just a complete asshole to Marty. And he pretends like he's maybe like lost his mind a little bit. He's like, get out of here, blah, blah, blah. Like basically like sends Marty away.
Right, yeah.
Like completely severs the relationship with Marty and is like never again, like, blah, 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 you'll never get out of here. Ah, blah, blah. He's like, oh man, Doc's gone crazy. Like, I guess we can't be friends with him. And he said he wanted to show me this cool invention, but like, I think he's just lost his mind. And then come to, you have Doc, like after maybe let's say 10 years go by.
Okay.
And Marty's life goes on as it normally would in the first movie. Like everything stays exactly the same.
Okay.
And Marty gets a knock on his door, and there's a lawyer standing there. And it was just like, I'm here to execute the last will and testament of Dr. Emmett Brown, and hands him this like extraordinarily large book.
Sure.
And in the book, with all of the photos and stuff that they stole, is come like as Marty's going through it, he's reading it as like it's obviously like his voiceover.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the whole story, and it was just like, I know like we were friends, and like I cast you away, but like you need to understand why and how. And it's just like the whole. And he was just like, I just need to tell you about how like we came back from the future, and like that's. Like, he knows the story, but he never actually ended up living it. And none of it ever actually happened. Because them going through time so much almost
ruined everything.
Completely ruined everything. So, like, but because the one thing it does fix is, like, you know how Marty's dad was always a writer and wasn't very good at it?
Right.
Marty gives the book to his dad. It's like, Dad, I think you might want to, like, I might have some inspiration for your next book. And then he's like, oh, that's great, son. I'm creepy and weird.
Yes.
That's great, son. And so his like dad publishes the book, and like it kind of like saves the family a little bit, because it's like, oh, like his dad is a successful writer now, and it's like that's the one thing that Marty or that Doc Brown could give to Marty to kind of like fix things. But like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, you know, you can, and the moral of the story being, it's like, yeah, you know, you could go back in time, but at the end of the day, like, you know, you got to make the best with what you have. So that's my Back to the Future 3. Ooh. None of it actually ever ends up happening.
Wow. Ooh.
Doc has to like make the choice to be like, don't show him the time machine. Yeah.
That's emotional.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Because you kind of want those time shenanigans. You want to Bill and Ted a little bit. You kind of want the fun stuff.
But there's repercussions.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I wasn't thinking about it. Yeah.
Wow.
Not to bring it down at all.
But a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. I just like the idea of like a future Smithsonian.
Yeah, that would be fun. And there's a sad bum, 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 in a minor key. The end. That's the power of love. Bout, bout, and everywhere. Hip, hip, so hip to be square.
Huey Lewis in the news been like, sometimes the best choice in life is not to do nothing. Because you just break everything. I don't know why I'm Bruce Springsteen instead of Huey Lewis right now. All right. Thunder Road.
Well, it is kind of thunderous, Fire Road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the tracks are fire.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that the first really emotional downbeat ending that
I don't think it's downbeat. I think it's inspiring. Like I think Marty's like, it's like Marty, like you were always the best kid, but like, and I had to make that choice in order to make sure that you survived. Like I don't know what we did in the time stream to make you not exist, but we did something, and I would rather sacrifice our friendship. It also gives him doing the voiceover and stuff gives the catharsis of one of them getting to be like, here's what you mean to me.
Yeah.
I will sacrifice you as my friend in the time stream in order to make sure that you don't disappear.
Exist, yeah.
I'd rather you exist without me knowing you than me knowing a ghost.
Oh. Wow.
Right?
Yeah. That's really sad, man.
It's really but it shows their love for each other.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
The end. No sequels. This is how it ends, guys.
I think it's
too bad.
It wraps it up.
Concluded.
Yeah. Well, do you want to know how I had it even sadder?
Oh no, you had a sadder ending?
Doc goes back and tells himself not to wear the medal.
So the Libyans actually kill him?
Uh-huh. That was too sad. That was too sad. To be like, Marty can't go back if I'm around. That was too much. That was like, that's a bridge too far. But then also some of the storyline didn't make sense.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. But also Doc doesn't get to do that much. So this one also gives Christopher Lloyd to play two different versions of himself.
Yeah.
Because like if you think about it, Back to the Future 1 and 2, it's like it's a lot of Marty doing stuff, and Doc's just kind of like, "Oh, you're back." It's like, I want to see like Christopher Lloyd's a national treasure.
He is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, both of those pitches are better than the actual movie that came out. Not that the one that came out was bad.
Well, but if anything,
but there was that one fits a little bit more into the slots that 1 and 2 filled. That make both of those are sequels to the first two movies.
Yes. And I honestly, like, you did a very excellent job of look, if we're going to keep it in a Western standpoint, let's do something interesting with the time travel, because these are time travel things.
Yes.
Like, because if anything, it was just like, it just felt like a Back to the Future movie that happened to be a Western. And it was like, you've brought nothing new to the table here in any way.
Nope.
So, well, I think we did it.
We did do it.
All right. Well, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this podcast on any of, wherever you find your podcast, behind the old Piggly Wiggly, you got to knock 3 times and get your podcast.
Podcasts are everywhere, Jay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they were also behind the Piggly Wiggly.
if you're listening on the audio format, if you wouldn't mind leaving us a review, 5 stars, please. Maybe write some nice words. Maybe write how you would fix Back to the Future 3. Maybe send me a blueberry muffin recipe as your review. I don't know. I don't make the rules. I dare you. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for watching. We appreciate you. If you wouldn't mind just liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell so you can get the show as soon as it comes out every week.
Every Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Noon.
At noon, baby. We'd very much appreciate it. You're internet literate. You know how important it is. You know it's our lifeblood and we need it. Yeah. So just do all the things, please and thank you. Guacamole's extra.
We would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just in a contemplative. Well, I can't say that word.
Contemplative
mood now.
Okay.
Sacrificing his whole relationship so he actually exists.
Yeah.
Wow, man, it's
really sad.
Oh, it's really sad.
At least he doesn't die.
Oh man,
Nobody dies.
Oh, my heart.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you sad.
It's okay.
But like it's.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Time travel, man. Not even once.
As we end every episode.
Oh wait, before we do that bit, next week is Eternals, guys.
Oh.
You probably want to clue into that one. Next week is gonna be the Eternals.
You guys are gonna make me watch Eternals. Ugh.
You're the one that just Black Panther's coming out next week. We decided we wanted to do a Marvel movie, and like the biggest Marvel movie there's nothing that really like ties into Black Panther. So it's like, well, the most recent Marvel movie is like, what about Eternals?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do Eternals.
Okay.
And that one's gonna get nuts.
Yeah.
So tune in Wednesday for the watch along, and next Tuesday for.
Yeah, it's gonna be
nuts.
That's gonna be aggressive. Well, anything else to say? As we end every episode, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
It's the slow derringer that you don't see coming,
and the fast pie tin that saves your life.
Ah, frisbee.
So stupid.
It was kind of dumb.
But
it was the 80s, man. Like Bill was throwing that bee in the day, man. Throw that bee.
Frisbee.
Yeah, throw that bee, baby.
Ooh. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.